Namaskar. Welcome to this session. We have commenced understanding the concept of karma because Patanjali is going to deal with karma ashaya and the Karmasiddhanta. So, little orientation to the concept of karma is so important, and that's why we have commenced. In the last session, we saw the 6 types of karma whereby human life is permeated and subsumed by karma, incessant karma, relentless karma. So, the classes were aichika karma, anaichika karma, swabhavika karma, prakrutika karma, naisargika karma, naibittika karma. That means voluntary, involuntary, by one's own personal nature, that is swabhavika karma. Prakrutika means because of the elemental matter, elemental gravities. Karma is because of those propensities and tendencies which are given by the nature, bhautika nature, pancha bhautika nature. And then natural karmas and naimittika, incidental karmas. So these were the 6 kinds of karmas that we considered in the last session. Then there is another classification which tells us about another dimension of karma. Kaya, Vacha, Manasa Karma. In Adhyatma, this is so prominently mentioned. So, Kaya, Vacha, Manasa Karma. Kaya Karma means the karma of the physical body. The Vachika Karma means the karma of oratory organ. This is typical, peculiar, unique to human form of life. That not only that man, human being, can speak, but performs karma by the speech organ. So those are vachika karma, and then mental karma by mind. Mind itself is an instrument of karma. Through the mind can perform karma as much as through the body, as much as through the speech. That's why there is mention of kaya, vacha, manasa, karma. Dharma-Adharma, vice and virtue, merit and demerit can be committed by 3 instruments. So this classification tells us about the karma classification based on instrumentation of karma. So instrument of karma would be kaya, that is physical body. Through the physical body we will be committing dharma-adharma, karma-akarma, papa, punya, the merit and demerit, vice and virtue. Then another instrument is the mind. Through the mind also we can commit the karmas. And through the speech organ we can again commit the same classes of karma, different classes of karma, all classes of karma. That's why Adhyatma tells us about karma by kaya, vacha, manas. And if we have to reform our karmas, we need to consider these instruments through which the karmas are carried out. So we'll have to have vigilance over these 3 instruments, management of the 3 instruments, which are the instruments through which karmas are performed. And Adhyatma lays lot of stress on the kayika karma, vachika karma, manasika karma, the karma by body. So we can see the difference between the physical instrument which carries out karma as against mental instrument which carries out karma, and then oral organ as an instrument committing karma. So these are different classes of karma that we can see. The karma, virtue and vice committed by body, virtuous vice committed by mind, virtue and vice committed by speech, Dharma-Adharma Papa Punya committed by body, committed by mind, committed by speech are three different kinds of acts and karma. And therefore, there needs to be more in-depth study, because through these instruments we are going to commit karmas. So any management or organization of karma, we will have to consider these three instruments. And therefore this classification is also mentioned in Adhyatma Shastra. The karma or the activity or action is committed by three instruments. So this shows that karma in some form or the other will be on. When physical karma is not taking place, mental and oratory karma can take place. When a mind or mental karma is not going to take place, physical and oratory act can take place. Or when the oratory act is not taking place, physical mental act can take place. So we need to have a greater thought process over these three kinds of karmas: kayika karma, vachika karma, manasika karma. Bodily acts, mindly acts, and speechly acts. So that will open out enormous vista of inquiry about the karmas. And student of yoga needs to be doing that. Because if you recall, I said Bhagwad Gita tells us that essential yoga, quintessential yoga starts with karma consciousness. It is the karma consciousness which is going to set in the yoga. Until that time, it will be some physical endeavor or mental endeavor, or maybe vachik endeavor as well. So in yoga, or the yoga really starts not when you start yoga, but when yoga starts for you, it is when you are conscious about the karma, when you are meticulous and particular about karma. When you think of managing the karmas, scrutinizing the karmas, selecting the karmas, sorting out the karmas, then the yoga really starts, not by moving the body and moving the mind and even moving the breath. Anyway, so that's how the karmas are incessant. If the body is not able to carry out karma, the mind will carry out. If the mind is not able to carry out, the body will carry out. If the body and mind are not able to carry out, the speech will carry out. So we can see how the karma is pervasive in our life. So that is why man is occupied and pervaded and permeated by karma. Man is subsumed by karma. And that's why the Bhagwad Gita, as I often quote, Nai kaschit kshanmapi jatuhu tishthatya karma krut. That even a moment will not pass without the karma in place. If karma is taken as doing something, or some kind of activity or some kind of action, then in that sense it is important to note that even non-doing has some doing. So not only doing has some doing, even the non-doing has some doing. And that is why you have the word non-doing. Again, there is a doing in that word non-doing. There is a word doing even in undoing. So doing, non-doing, undoing, all are doings. So action, non-action, inaction are also forms of action. So this might keep your brain little spinning. And it is important for you to really consider this. When you do something, there is no doubt. But when you don't do something, you do something for not to do it. And by not doing, you do something else. Because you don't do A thing, you end up doing B thing, C thing, D thing, something. And even to undo something, you have to do something. So there is karma to be traced in doing, non-doing, undoing. So, see, that's how, as you are all aware, that Karmasiddha is really brain spinning, intriguing, incomprehensible. You will start getting the first dose of it here. It's a small dose. How it is really intriguing, and it sets your brain spinning. So, the karma is to be understood here as doing something, and non-doing should be taken as akarma here. So karma, akarma. So understand this pair. So karma of the nature of doing something, like I am eating, I am sleeping, I am writing, I am walking, I am talking. And then akarma, when we say, if something has been done and we are questioned, who did this? We say, no, I did not do it. I did not do it. I did not go there. So we want to negate an activity. In negating activity, there is an activity. Because if you negate an activity, that means you were doing something to not to do it. And you are doing because you are not doing it. You are doing something else. So we will have to answer, what were you doing in lieu of that? And what and how did you not do something? Because there is karma again. The word itself is so tricky that doing has doing, non-doing has doing, undoing has also doing. So that's one of the ways to look at the class of karma-akarma pair. Let me tell you, that is not only the way to consider karma-akarma. There are other dimensions of karma-akarma. Anyway, this is one of the dimensions of the nature of having done something or not having done something. I did this, I did not do this. We'll have to give these answers in different situations. So karma, akarma, this is a pair of the nature of doing and non-doing. The karma, akarma has also another meaning in vogue. Akarma means doing what one should not be doing, should not have done. So that is also called akarma. Karma means what one should do, and akarma also means what one should not do. So on one hand, what one does is karma, what one doesn't do is akarma. So also what one should do is karma, what one should not do is also akarma. Like we say, you should not be doing this, no one should be doing this. That is also called akarma. You should be doing it, everyone should be doing it, it's called karma. So there are two dimensions to karma-akarma pair. Let's proceed. Anyway, there is doing in doing, and there is doing in non-doing, and there is doing in undoing. Now this has to be analyzed for inquiry into karma. Thus the concept of doing and acting are both. They are quite mysterious, they are quite strange, they are quite intriguing, they are quite confounding as well. They are quite confusing. That is why usually one dare not, or one does not really go for karma inquiry. One is dreaded to inquire into karma because, as we have just now seen, that it is quite confusing, confounding, intriguing, also difficult for comprehension. The point is that karma or action or doing does not leave man for a moment without exception. Because if you are not doing, you are that's a kind of doing, as you have just now heard. That's why you are occupied in some form of doing. If you are not doing, if you are doing, you are doing. If you are not doing, again you are in not doing. Again, it's a kind of karma. And if you are undoing, it is again another kind of karma. That's how one of the ways why the human being doesn't escape karma, because the man will be either in doing or undoing or non-doing. When you are not doing, that itself is a karma. That means you are engaged in karma. So that is why karma doesn't leave man. And that's absolutely without exception. Not even a moment would pass without some form of karma, some kind of karma. The concept of karma or action or doing, the concept of karma in the sense action or doing, extends beyond logic, beyond rationale. Therefore, it has been the subject matter of metaphysics. It is subject matter of mysticism and also subject matter of metaphysics. It opens out new realms for the common man who always dwells in mundane, physical, empirical, phenomenal realities or planes. Just as modern man has now realized that there are atomic and molecular realities and electron microscopic realities whose comprehensions are not possible through our naked eyes, naked ears, naked senses, naked faculties, there are many such realities in the realm of philosophy, religion, mysticism, that your empirical intelligence, which is naked intelligence, cannot really conceive. Like eyes need microscopes and telescopes to have taste of something that doesn't come to perception with naked eyes. So we know the limitations of naked eyes. But if you are given microscopes and electron microscopes and telescopes and Hubble telescopes, you know how the vision extends, which normally you will not get in your vision. So also about ears. Naked ears have limitation in hearing sounds. We know that range of decibels within which we can hear, and anything beyond those that range, either on either sides, we cannot hear it. And therefore we have instruments for such hearing. The simple and well-known example is stethoscope. So we have some scopies for our ears, for our senses, because the naked organs cannot catch it. So is the case of our intelligence. Intelligence needs an attachment. So understand naked intelligence and equipped intelligence, like naked eyes and equipped eyes, naked ears and equipped ears. Similarly, it is with reference to our minds. Many things our minds won't catch. But if the mind is given a gadget then it will be entering the realm of subtles. If the intelligence is given such a gadget, such as you have microscope, telescopes and audioscopes, etc., then the intelligence also will go beyond the normal range in its function. So there is a concept called naked faculties and equipped faculties. So naked faculties, most of the realities are out of his reach. Like most of the realities are out of reach for naked eyes. But when you give telescope, microscope, electron microscope, Hubble telescope, many things come into its visionaries. So is the case of naked mind, naked intelligence, naked faculties, naked thinking mind, naked knowing intelligence. But if you give some instruments, they will know that there are realities beyond what we circumscribe as realities. So karma is one such thing. For an ardent student of yoga philosophy or the yoga religion or yoga metaphysics or yoga metapsychics, the pursuit of karmic concepts is quite fascinating and challenging, and yoga provides you those insights. So the mind and intelligence and senses or cognitive faculties will start working beyond the natural realm, and then it becomes quite fascinating. It also becomes challenging, apart from being essential. We'll get essential knowledge provided we have these attachments to our chitta, to our mind stuff. So those who are in spiritual pursuits or oriented to Adhyatma often face the realities that karmas of past life dabble with our present day pursuits and cause obstacles or cause quantum leaps in our abilities. In exceptional cases, there are incredible bounties, and these people often refer to Purva Karma. Why something extraordinary happens in one's life? So it is referred to Purva Karma, the karma of past lives. So is the case what is called as prarabdha. Purva karma, prarabdha, praktana. What one cannot imagine happens. And it is real. It is not fictitious, it is not illusory, it is very real. So it is because of Purva karma, prarabdha, praktana, which all means our actions in past life. They fructify now, and some unusual thing happens in our present life. So these people rightly recognize or compliment the acts of past life or past lives. Those people realize the reality that karmas make or mar the man. Karmas will make the man or karmas will mar the man. The karmas evolve and devolve the mankind. We evolve and devolve not only because of what we are doing now here, but we will also evolve and devolve because of what we have done in our past lives. Because all those really dabble, interfere, influence our present life. The karmas which are most refined and exalted, not being virtue or vice, emancipate the man. Otherwise, the karmas bind the man and strengthen the bindings. So, there is also a way of karma that is called naishkarmya. So, that karma will be infertile. It will not give rise to any such fruition. And the karma philosophy will tell us about that as well, that all karmas need not be reaping fruits. There are karmas, or the same karmas, when done in the culture of naishkarmya, then they would be infertile. Now, the question comes up, in what way are karmas related to yoga? This is a very moot question, very foundational question, and we can be discussing a lot about as to how the karmas are related to yoga, because we think yoga in our idea is doing something with body, doing something with mind, doing something with breath. So we think that is yoga. If you do something with body, mind and breath, that means you think that is yoga. And we don't try to have slightest idea as to how karmas are related to yoga. The question will be quite obvious and curious to an imaginative and inquisitive mind in yoga, in the field of yoga, in pursuit of yoga. If you are little inquisitive and imaginative, this will be certainly the question that will crop up. In what way karma is related to yoga? As said in the earlier part of our discussions, essential yoga or authentic or classical yoga or traditional yoga, age-old yoga, classical yoga, it doesn't begin without karmic consciousness. It is so fundamental. So this has already been divulged to you. Yoga on the plane of consciousness begins with a proper sense of duty. Proper sense of duty called kartavya karma. And that is the karma consciousness. You should be identifying faultlessly, flawlessly what is real duty. If you identify duty with a flaw and fault, then you can imagine you end up doing what and you end up facing what. So we need to have this scrutiny and arrive at what is really my duty, my kartavya, and what is vihita karma and what is niyata karma. So there are wonderful concepts in Adhyatma called kartavya karma or vihita karma and niyata karma. Kartavya karma is a duty mindedness, means I am bound to do this. And then we are all expecting good in our life. We are not waiting and expecting bad things to happen in our life. We want a good consequence in our life. All consequences should be good. So we want something good in our life, not untoward in our life. And because the things should not be untowards, but the consequences in our life, happenings in our life should be good, we also have to identify the kartavya, the duty for good to happen. So what is my duty is one thing. So the duty is pure duty there, kartavya, that what should I be doing? Like we say, this is my duty. Because of your designation, because of your status, because of whatever you are, father, mother, son, daughter, wife, husband, son and daughter, etc., you have certain duties. Because of your occupation, profession, you have certain duties. And you have to do it. That becomes your duty to be doing it. That is one dimension of kartavya karma. Because what I am, I must do it. Because of what I am now, I must be doing this. Because I am here, I must be doing this. The other one is, when we are looking for good things to happen in our life, for good things to happen, we also have to identify this is only the thing I should be doing, so that the good will happen, the bad will be prevented. So these are two dimensions of kartavya karma. Vihita karma, niyata karma. Vihita karma means where I have my hita, my good, and therefore I should do it. And if there is bad, I should not be doing it. So my doing and non-doing should consider what is good for me. And that wise becomes my duty, because I have been wanting good things to happen in my life. So vihita karma is a concept, a type of kartavya karma. The other one is niyata karma. Niyata, bound to do it. I am bound to do it. I am not supposed to be looking at whether it is going to be doing good or not good. It becomes my duty to be doing it. So human being has this kind of kartavya karma, which is twofold. Vihita karma and niyata karma. I am bound to do this, it becomes kartavya karma or duty mindedness. And because I all the time look for good of me, and I want good for others to happen, everyone around me to happen, I don't want bad things to happen to people around me. That's also a duty of a human being, to take care that not only good things happen to me, but that the good things happen to people around me, my people, and people even who are beyond that radius of my people. Even if they are not your people, yet you have to see that a good thing happens to them. This is duty of a human mind, human being. So good to all, one and all. Good to me and good to everyone. Sarve sukhinah santu. Sarve santu niramaya. So this prayer is well known. So it's not that everything should happen good to me and I don't bother about what happens to others. No, then you are not in the framework of human duty. So we have duty to see that the good things only happen, bad things are prevented as far as possible, not only in the personal gravities but even beyond. Not only all people but all creation. This is what is human duty. We have to take care that everything, everywhere happens good every time. We must take utmost care to see this happens like that. And I don't bother about what happens to someone else. I don't bother about what happens to animals and what happens to plant and what happens to nature. See what has happened, ended up where. So the good is always to be expected by human being, good of oneself, good of one's people, and good of other people, good of all things, all people and all things, on the planet, outside the planet, in the galaxy, outside the galaxy. This is human duty. The modern normative science do not speak about this. We are responsible for whole cosmos, and we must see that we not only protect environment on the planet, which is today's concern, we have to bother about environment outside the planet, in the whole solar system, outside the whole solar system, in the entire galaxy, our Milky Way, and then beyond the Milky Way, beyond out in the universe. This is what is duty of human being according to Vedic philosophy, Vedic culture. We don't just bother about oneself or human beings or life on the planet, but everything outside the planet, outside the galaxy, out in the universe, boundless universe. So, kartavya, we have duty for ourselves, we have duty for our people, our family, our society, our nation, our globe, our humanity, our entire nature, the planetary nature and even duty beyond planetary gravities, planetary universe. We have to also identify our duties outside our planet. In this Sanatana Dharma, we don't identify something there as aliens, which the modern world does. I don't understand why life in some other system should be called aliens. Why are they aliens? Why don't you say they are brothers? Why don't you say they are cousins? Why do you call them aliens? Because this culture is not there behind that language. That's why they are branded or they are tagged as aliens, because they don't belong to Earth. If they don't belong to Earth, why don't you call them your brothers or cousins? And why should you tag them as aliens? Now this term should go away. Even if you are a prey to another predator animal, don't call predator animal as alien. We all know I should be afraid of snakes and cobras and alligators and crocodiles and tigers and lions. But we can't call them aliens. We have to coexist with them. We have to allow them to coexist with us. We can't treat them as animals, and we don't treat those beasts as our aliens. We say that they are animals of the planet. So why not the beings outside the planet be not considered as our brothers or sisters and our cousins? So life anywhere should be considered as our extended family. Nothing in extra global plane should be considered as alien. This should be done away with. This expression should be done away with. That bracketing all life outside the earth as alien. Why for? On what ground? Anyway, so kartavyam, duty-mindedness. So try to understand the radius of duty-mindedness. So that is kartavya, vihita kartavya, and vihita karma and niyata karma, or vihita kartavya, niyata kartavya, is what kartavya has been described. Anyway, so we are all used to doing actions by our will, inclination, choice, disposition, circumstances, enforcements, desires, wants. When we are forced to do karma out of force and coercion, out of helplessness, haplessness, hopelessness, then what happens? What must be the consequence? When we are forced to do something, usually we do the karmas which are our desires and wants and inclinations and dispositions, but many times we have to do the karmas which are not of that nature or that class that we are inclined and that we have desire to do it and get it something out of it. But then we are helpless, hapless, hopeless, and we have to do certain karmas. So we are forced to do certain karmas. Circumstances force, enforcements are there. So when we are forced to do a karma helplessly, hopelessly, haplessly, we are responsible for that. You can't say I was not responsible because I was forced to do it. That also becomes a karma. So someone under adhyatmic culture and influence has a proper sense of judgment of all do's and all don'ts, as well as different modes of doings and not doings. Like certain academic pursuits are called post-graduation courses. Yoga in its essential attributes commences only when one has Dharma-Adharma Viveka. In simple words, vice and virtue discrimination. If you are able to rightly discriminate between what is virtue and what is vice, that is Dharma-Adharma Viveka and Karma-Akarma Viveka. One needs to have a sufficient sense of judgment, discrimination, discernment, discretion with respect to right and wrong, merit and demerit, vice and virtue, dharma and adharma, and in one sense karma and akarma. The consumer commodity like yoga today that is rampant in the world, it's a consumer commodity. We want health and well-being, therefore we are going for yoga. We are taking service of yoga because we want health and well-being. This is consumerism. So yoga has become consumer commodity in our times. Anyone can begin, therefore, because everyone wants wellness and well-being, health and mind wellness, well-being. So anyone can commence it. So the consumer commodity like yoga that is available today can be begun by anyone who looks for mundane good, material good, physical, mental good, worldly good, good for on business plane of life, the health and sense of well-being and merrymaking. This, our time, what I often refer to as yoga, YOGAAAA, has a global appeal, but this classical yoga that we are discussing is not for all, but there can be something for everyone. Yoga is not meant for all, but there is something for everyone in yoga. So gradually one will realize that it is not even for few, but very isolated few, such as 1 in millions. It won't be exaggeration. Or at least 1 in thousands. And that is what Yoga Shastra has often said, that 1 in thousands and 1 in millions will really take up to this essential yoga, not the consumer yoga. And for essential yoga, you need to break your head with this terse, difficult concept of karma consciousness. So that is why it is said by the traditional yoga that karma consciousness is the beginning of yoga. Anyway, now therefore we will have to commence our investigations with regards to karma. What is karma? Which kind of karma is it? Any karma that we do, because as I said, we are incessantly in karma. So, the karma consciousness, how to evolve karma consciousness, it starts with the temporal cerebral process basically. Any karma must be analyzed and must be taken under scrutiny. What is this karma? Whichever you are taking for investigation. What is karma? Which kind of karma is that? Like we said, kaya, vacha, manasa, papa karma, punya karma, dharma karma, adharma karma, or doing, non-doing, undoing. What kind of karma is that? What is the mode of karma? What is the grade of karma? Why is the karma carried out? What is the intent, motive behind carrying out karma? What is the drive behind karma? What is the motive behind karma? What are the actions, motions, and processes in that process of karma? What is the purpose of karma? That is why the karma was done. What are the instruments of karma? What is the state of subjective entity in that karma? In what state of your being, in what state of mind you committed that karma? And what are the effects of karma? What are the consequences of karma? So this is how the investigation of karma takes place. And it has to take place for us to evolve karma consciousness. So we must become karma curious and try to seek answers with regards to what was the karma, why was the karma, how was the karma, when was the karma, why for the karma, with what drive, motive, motion, execution the karma took place, what was the effect of karma, what was the consequences of karma. Like police investigation of a crime, we will have to have investigation of our karma, so that we are in a position to ultimately arrive at a kind of conclusion that this was a good karma or bad karma, done in a good way or bad way. So we will realize all dimensions, whether done with good intent or bad intent. There can be good karma with a bad intent. There can be bad karma with a good intent. All this is probable in human dynamics of activity. So there has to be thorough inquiry. This is how we can go about, which is a very temporal process, cerebral process. Everyone can do it. Everyone has a brain. It's not that you have to enter into some mysticism and try to understand the karma. Before going to any microscopic inquiry, let's go to the clinical inquiry of the karma, and this is how it has to take place. Why, what, when, where, why for, with what consequence, with what effect, and collect facts with regards to these questions. So the student of yoga needs to be doing this. Now that is called a karma inquiry, quite temporal, quite empirical, and this is possible and probable. So inquiry must circumscribe also the doer, the doing, the done, the cause, the reason, the purpose, the drive, the motive, the execution, the participation, the actions, the reactions, the responses, the inactions, the unactions, the effects, the consequences, the instruments, the mode of karma, the grade of karma, the inherent vice and virtue in very intent, and how, why, when, where, etc. about karma. So these are all possible questions to really set up inquiry with regards to any karma and perhaps every karma. In other words, observe how we are in a habit of assessing someone else's karma. Because we will do this when we have to assess someone else's karma. Why not turn it to ourselves? We have that kind of prudence and acumen to assess somebody's karma. Critically, we will assess somebody's karma. That means we have the possibility to do it. Then why not turn it to ourselves and be critical about our own karma? Then you will know how inquiry can be set up and how inquiry can be carried out. And this is important for karma consciousness that we can be doing as students of yoga. So yoga practitioners needs to develop this unusual attitude and habit to objectively investigate one's actions, activities, processes, purposes, effects and consequences. Anyway, let's come to a very fundamental question. What is karma? But let us leave this to our next session. Enough for the time being. Namaskar all of you.